Hey guys, my name is Mark from jazzguitarlessons.net. Welcome to this video about patterns, which is a thing that's been pretty popular on the YouTube channel for the past little while. I shot this video, which I'll put here or here, about 10 years ago. And in this video, I want to give you 3 tips on addressing the patterns on your fretboard. So I mean scale patterns. So let's get going. Okay, the first thing to decide is what kind of pattern you want to work on. So it's a digital pattern. In this video, I'll give you a couple. So it's going to be ascending in thirds, which is pretty known. I'm in G major right now, right? And then the second one will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. in the scale. So now let's get going with the first tip. So the first tip for scale patterns, after you know which pattern you want to work on, is simply to block them off in positions. That's pretty easy, that's pretty known, it's pedantic. You stick your hand to one position and you ascend the pattern. Namely, now I'm in the key of G major. Think of a bar chord and you start the scale with your second finger on the 6th string. So I call this 6-2, if you will. And then you go up and make sure you use the appropriate fingering. Don't go like this, cheat out of position. You just simply do it in the position. You can do it through the cage system, which is 5. Shapes or boxes, or you can do it in the Berkeley system, which is 7, or you can do it in any way that you like. So this is pretty much where people get started with patterns like, oh, this is a position, this is how you do it. And I'm not gonna spend any more time on this because it's pretty simple and easy to understand. Let's move on. So the second tip about the scale patterns is if you go beyond these scale positions, you can start to play them diagonally. And that's a bit more vague and ambiguous, so let me spend a little bit of a moment on this. What I like to do is pick a pattern such as this one, and instead of being bogged down by a position, I'm going to say, well, I'm going to play it everywhere on the fretboard, start low and reach high. So it gives a really good sort of a brain teaser, because you really got to know the scale and the notes, and at the same time you really got to know when you want to change. I'll give you an example. Change strings, namely. So check this out. G, A, B, and eventually if you don't want to keep to the 2 bottom strings, you have to make a decision like, oh, I gotta change string or else I'm gonna run out of frets, right? So what I would do, for starters, maybe is to play 3 iterations of that pattern. So 1, 2, 3, and maybe the 4th one go on the next string. Or maybe the 4th one I keep here and then the 5th one I keep here. And then the problem becomes that, yeah, what fingers do what job and when do I switch or whatever. So that's the brain teaser fretboard discovery, where you actually take a pattern to be something that could come out and be useful on a song. And I talk about patterns because people say, well, Mark, I see the chords, the Stella by Starlight, all the things you are, and then I know the chords, I know the scales, I know the arpeggios, yet when I solo, it just sounds like I'm playing up and down in scales. Well, patterns is one way to break down of these scale patterns, and of these scales, scalar, like going up and down, right? An arpeggio is another way to break down the scale. You have your scale, and then I'm going to go 1, 3, 5, 7, or whichever. So the patterns are a really good way to do that. And if you approach them in the way I showed you in second, you will unlock places that will be really useful for you, and you can pick, I just did thirds, you can pick any interval, you can pick 4ths, 5ths, 6ths, and do the same of work, and you sort of figure it out along as you go. Do this super slowly, like I'll do 6 for now. And of course there are no tabs for this, because the goal is to be figuring this stuff out as you go. So that second tip, like, of course the first tip, playing in position, is just like, oh yeah, well, yeah. The second tip is something that completely opened up my playing. And by the way, if you're interested, I work with these kinds of things on a much more intimate basis with my Jazz Guitar Accelerator students. This is free of charge. Book a call, of course, and I can determine if you're a good fit for the program or not. Of course, I'll be transparent. If I cannot help you, I will be really upfront. We have a really good bunch of people now. You can go to jazzguitarlessons.net/reviews to just hear about how, I will say it this way, how good my students are. They're really good. So go and check out those videos, and now let's proceed to the next step. Okay, recapping. 0, prelude, pick a pattern. 1, do it in a position, right? Step 2, do it diagonally. Step 3 is more for the advanced guys, and I'll tell you why. The third step is to think of being consistent with your interval. and I'll catch you. You'll go, oh, I've made this mistake. You ready? I'll do this. I'll start with the first step. Ascend, keep going. And safe, we're done. Like I can't go anywhere else. And now, how many of you will watch this and go, yeah, this is actually not the same interval, right? Because now I'm going ascending third. Next scale tone, ascending third, ascending third, ascending third. So if I go down the scale, I should also play ascending thirds, right? So I would go, sorry. I just caught myself. Right, so this is a different ball game, or same thing with this guy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Then people reach, and then. So it's like no, you're not. Now you reverse the pattern. So if you want to keep your interval consistent, what you should be doing at the end of the scale is this. Which is way more challenging. That's why I said it's a more advanced pattern. It's a Michael Brecker interview where it's like, yeah, make sure you're consistent whether you go with the pattern up the scale or down the scale. You should be consistent with the interval choice. And Michael Brecker himself went like, okay, I picked this pattern and I will work on it for like 18 months. Like, okay, that's why you're here and I'm here, because you're Michael Brecker. So this is the kind of diligence and really attention you have to pay to these sorts of things, not go like, oh, I know my scales. There's always more to do. I'll give you another advanced example. Actually, you could make up your own kinds of patterns by saying, I'm going to look at the root, the third and the fifth of the scale, so in this case, and I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4 on them. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know, I just made this up on the spot, right? So you can always look at the scale from a different angle to create a pattern, and especially if you mix the second tip going up on your fretboard and just sort of figuring it out as you go, where to change string and what fingers to use. And once you reach the end, you go, all right, I'm done. And then go, keep that's an ascending third, boda, that I'm doing on each degree, even if the direction of the scale is different, which is going down your fretboard, the direction of your interval can remain consistent. That's going to fix you, as Barry Harris said at some point in his trainings. That's a biggie. So on that note, that's all there is to the patterns. Just make sure that you don't get too dogmatic or bogged down by either a position, either a way of looking at a pattern. And the Arnie Burrell book, classic, put it on the screen here, please. Pattern, scales, and modes for jazz guitar, which is good in a way, but that's not the whole picture. It's just a part of the picture. If you want to start exploring diagonally, you want to start exploring consistent intervals, you can start to even do the same in comping. Imagine you just pick 3 notes, and okay, I play these 3 notes, and I'm going to take them up through the entire scale. Oh, and I'm going to figure out the fretboard as you go. So not only do you get patternalized playing, so you can play interesting ideas, but also you're discovering your fretboard, and you're finding stuff that's useful that turns out to be much more than just an exercise. Okay, so on that note, thanks for watching, guys. Please like and subscribe. As usual, there's plenty more on this YouTube channel, plenty of free stuff. A lot of guys that I talk to on my calls for the Jazz Guitar Accelerator, my current students, past students, all said the same thing. Man, your stuff on YouTube is so awesome. I know, right? Because you might watch this and start to do the patterns, and it will change your playing forever. So it's costing you nothing just to click subscribe and like, so that you might see a video of mine from the past that's going to change your playing, and or a new one that's just about to be released that you will find really useful. On that note, I'll see you soon on the blog, jazzguitarlessons.net. Improve your jazz guitar playing with a real teacher. Thanks for watching. Talk to you soon. Bye.